And I just love that too. Look at that look at that panel there. Just so cool. Night Hunters. Have you heard of it? I just heard about it a while ago. I would say probably 6 months ago. And I saw the artwork and I was like, this is super cool. Why are people not more into this? It's an indie book. I don't know much about the creators or the artists or anything like that. It's just a book that just looks cool to me. And sometimes when you find like an indie gem, it's, you're just like, okay, I'm gonna check this out and whatever. And then you're pleasantly surprised when it looks really good. And this book looks super cool. And one thing I will say, this might be one of the best colored comics I've seen in a very, very long time. The art's great too, but the color is just really awesome. I'm not sure if the artist is doing the coloring themselves, but we'll just kind of take a walk through this. I don't know if this book was successful. I don't know if this book was big. I have no idea. But I actually read this one, and basically your typical, like, they're two kids, they get separated, they have like separate goals, and then I believe in the end, it's been a while since I've read it, but I believe in the end they like team up against the ultimate evil, I believe. So the story, not very interesting, but but then again, I could be totally wrong about the end of the story. So we get a Blade Runner feel, but I just love this very like simplistic kind of, you know, way of drawing buildings and drawing, kind of your establishing shot, but great establishing shot, very Blade Runner-esque, very Cyberpunk-esque, and it gives you kind of the information about what's going on and what the world is like, and then we just get into this really awesome looking artwork. I mean, it's just so cool, and I love the color. The color is one of the things that really stands out to me on this book. I think this book is super affordable. I think there's single issues of it as well they can pick up for a very affordable price. But yeah, these are just, I love that color. I really, really do. Yeah, it's very weird to see white on the page. And this very, like, just strong color comic. And some great drawing here and great action. Great composition, great storytelling. If you hear my cat in the background, I apologize. I just got a new kitten, so he might meow or make noises. He may even show up on camera, who knows. But very interested in what I'm doing. Anyways, just, the detail on the armor. Alright, so we are back, and man, I really love this drawing. Very simplistic, just backgrounds. It's just so cool, but there's just so much going on. It's not simplistic, but he's not drawing out like every single building. He's kind of just putting down marks to represent, like, this is a very, heavy populated area, or once a heavy populated area at one point. How more cyberpunk can that get? Just so cool. I'm a huge fan of Cyberpunk. Blade Runner is one of my favorite movies of all time. And when somebody can pull off a Cyberpunk comic, I'm all for it. And I love the way he draws like kind of like gadgets and things like that, weapons, goggles. And I just love that too. Look at that look at that panel there. Just so cool. Such a unique art style, I feel like. Sorry, I'm gonna move my mic back. Sorry. Since my cat came in, I got a little disoriented. I love the use of the blues and the reds and the greens and the yellows. Just so cool. It feels amateurish, but it also feels just so good. Okay, and then we're done with issue 1. Here we go. Just, of course, you have your typical bad guy, and then this is the other brother, I believe. He's a killing machine, of course. And man, I'm a sucker for solid colored backgrounds. This reminds me of like the Jack Kirby era. Just such great art. Great action. Everything feels like it has like because it's like so, what's the way I can say it? It has, everything sort of feels gestural. If that makes any sense. I love these greens and blacks together. Man. And like every panel is just so interesting. Such an interesting comic to look at. That's the most important thing, I feel like. Well, the story is important too, obviously, but you want to just make your comic look interesting. And this comic just looks so cool. I keep saying that over and over again. I don't have any other adjectives other than cool, awesome, great. Yeah, I love how he uses like a different color in the foreground. And there's also cool covers for this too. I mean, look at that. It's such a rad. I mean, pink is such a strong color if you can use it right. You gotta figure out how to use those pinks, man. Because, man. Yeah, I don't know if I said this earlier, but have you read this book? If you have, tell me what you think. And if you haven't, is this something you'd be interested in? Is this something that you yourself would pick up? Are you a fan of cyberpunk like myself? And the funny thing about cyberpunk is I feel like a lot of people, they don't know how to do cyberpunk. And look at that. Got those Tesla cars there. I'll spin that down a bit. Man, so cool. I just love this art. And I love like the pink on the side of his face for the color and the blue for the shade, for the dark. But I feel like cyberpunk is one of those genres that I feel like it doesn't get done very well for whatever reason, because I think there's more establishment in the world than there is a story. This is a pretty good story. It's not like over the moon amazing, but it's pretty good. It's good enough. I think the writer of this book is an artist himself, I believe. I believe he has like a YouTube channel or something. I'm not sure. But I feel like if you're an artist now, you have to have a YouTube channel, because it's the only way anybody will find out about your work. So, as much as I love comics and I love looking at comics, my hope is to eventually have enough following so that I can make books and then sell them and get them out there to people. Because you gotta have a fan base now. It's not about, finding it randomly, even though I believe I did find this book randomly. Man, such great artwork. It kind of has like that, it reminds me of like Ronin, like Miller's Ronin a bit. But yeah, I just love like some of the, I love that amateurish feel to it, That's so cool. Now look at that. That is a very cool, I mean, every panel on this page is cool. Or maybe it's the two brothers are fighting each other to the end. I can't remember the exact story. But I do remember the artwork, that's for sure. Man, look at that. That's a great piece there. And I'm going through this rather quick, but I would prefer you guys to pick it up and experience it yourself. And then I think you find somebody whose face is also deformed. I think he had killed his brother, and then he goes off into the sunset. And you have some more artwork in the back. That's really cool. I love that art too. I don't know, I just love that very scratchy, a lot of detail going in, but also kind of, but you kind of fool somebody into believing that you're putting a ton of detail in, but I don't know, I don't know the way to describe it. It's just very cool. And that's a cool piece there. I love cyberpunk stuff, so. So yeah, I'm assuming that the artist is also the colorist, because there's a letterer. It's different. Yeah. So Alexis Zuriet, I don't know. I'm not good with names. And then of course they have this cool piece on the back. That's Night Hunters. This is a rad book, a book that I don't think anybody talks about. Floating World Comics, is that the same company that prints all those reprints? Like they're doing like New York City Outlaws. I can't remember the name of that company, but this is just a cool book. You should definitely pick it up. I think it's still available. I bought mine on like Thrift Books for like $9 or something, because I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot. I knew a little bit of what it looked like. I was like, I'm not gonna buy a new copy, and this is serviceable for me. It's a rad comic. It's a comic book that I have not heard anybody talk about. So if you're a fan of cyberpunk or some interesting art, you should definitely pick this up. Reminds me of like an amateurish version of like a Mobius, like a Frank Miller during Ronin, but it actually looks not. It doesn't. At some points it does look amateurish, but at some points it looks very cool and very, very just unique in its own way. So beautiful book, great book, beautifully drawn, beautifully colored. Check it out if you haven't before. If you're a fan of Cyberpunk, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed Night Hunters.